If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content. Your support means everything. The obsidian hull of the vessel gleamed like a wound in the darkness, absorbing rather than reflecting the faint light of Jupiter's distant moons. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood motionless, her cybernetic eye scanning the final systems check, each neural link pulsing with a lifetime of memories too painful to forget. The facility around her was a testament to humanity's most closely guarded secret. Buried beneath kilometers of Europan ice, the construction site had been invisible to every scanning technology known to the galactic community. For 17 years, this ship, this singular weapon of unprecedented potential, had been crafted in absolute silence. Elena's hand traced the edge of her command interface. The ship had no traditional name, only a designation, Prometheus-01. But those who knew its true purpose called it something else entirely, the reset button. Final system alignment complete, murmured Dr. Akira Chen, the lead engineer, his voice a mixture of reverence and barely contained excitement. Quantum entanglement matrix is stable. The adaptive AI is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever created. The ship was more than a weapon. It was humanity's ultimate response to decades of quiet oppression, of being treated as a footnote in the vast galactic hierarchy. The alien civilizations that had systematically marginalized humanity would soon learn the true meaning of underestimation. Elena's mind drifted to the war that had never been officially acknowledged. The silent conflicts, the disappeared colonists, the systematic elimination of human outposts in the outer reaches. Each memory was a razor-sharp fragment, driving her forward. "Crew status?" she asked, her voice devoid of emotion. A holographic display flickered to life, showing 6 faces, each a survivor, each carrying scars that ran deeper than flesh. They were not a crew. They were a precision instrument, each selected for abilities that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's xenobiological expert, looked up from his station. His hands, more machine than flesh after a brutal encounter with an alien bioweapon, danced across quantum-encrypted interfaces, biological and cybernetic integration at 99.7%. The symbiotic neural network is unprecedented. The ship was powered by something beyond traditional technology. Rumors within the most classified circles spoke of recovered xenotechnology, merged with human innovation in ways that violated every known physical law. Quantum processors that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Energy systems that drew power from the fabric of space-time itself. A communication burst interrupted their preparations. Global Leadership Council, the shadowy collective that had authorized the Prometheus project, was making its final transmission. The holographic message was brutally clear. The galaxy believes humanity will respond with a fleet. They are wrong. We are sending something else entirely. Elena's cybernetic eye flickered, displaying a countdown. 17 years of preparation had led to this moment. The alien civilizations that had systematically marginalized humanity were about to receive a message written in a language of pure technological innovation. Initiating launch sequence, Dr. Chen announced, his voice trembling slightly. The facility around them began to transform. Massive electromagnetic shields activated, creating a cocoon that would mask their departure. The Europan ice above them began to shift, revealing a launch tunnel that had been decades in preparation. Prometheus-01 was more than a ship. It was humanity's scalpel, designed to cut through the very fabric of galactic power structures. As the final launch sequence initiated, Elena Rodriguez allowed herself the briefest moment of a smile. The galaxy would never see them coming. Departure in T-60 seconds, the ship's AI announced, its voice a perfect blend of human and machine, a harbinger of the transformation to come. The transition between dimensional spaces was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Prometheus-01 didn't simply emerge from hyperspace. It manifested, like a predatory thought given physical form. Admiral Krickstall of the Centauri hegemony was reviewing standard patrol protocols when the first anomalous reading crossed his neural interface. His 6 eyes simultaneously processed conflicting data streams. A single vessel, impossibly small, appearing in the most contested sector of the Orion Arm. Impossible, he muttered, mandibles clicking with nervous energy. Dr. Webb's voice cut through the ship's internal communication system. Target acquisition complete. Multiple hostile battle groups detected. Recommend immediate engagement protocols. Elena Rodriguez didn't respond verbally. Her consciousness was already merging with the ship's adaptive AI, becoming something more than human, less than machine. The cybernetic neural link transformed the vessel into an extension of her will. The first alien battle group didn't even realize they were under attack until their primary defensive systems began to disintegrate. Not destroyed. Disintegrated. Quantum matrices unraveled. Shield generators turned to quantum dust. Weapon systems reduced to base atomic components before they could even initialize a defensive response. 3 frigates neutralized. The ship's AI reported, its tone clinical. 0 energy discharge detected. Complete systems dissolution. Aboard the Centauri command vessel, Admiral Crickstall watched in horror. The human vessel hadn't fired a single conventional weapon. It had simply unmade the attacking ships as casually as one might brush away dust. Tactical displays across multiple alien communication networks erupted with panic. The standard threat assessment protocols, developed over millennia of interstellar conflict, simply collapse when confronted with Prometheus-01. Biological assessment, Elena commanded, her voice a razor-sharp whisper. Dr. Webb's augmented systems began a rapid analysis. Crew complement of the destroyed vessels, 4,372 individual biological units. Cause of neutralization, complete quantum destabilization. No survivors, no traces. The ship moved with a fluidity that defied known physics. It didn't dodge incoming attacks so much as exist slightly outside the realm where those attacks could manifest. Weapon trajectories would bend around Prometheus-01, as if space itself was reluctant to allow harm to touch the vessel. Another battle group approached. These were the Syndicate's elite, vessels designed to consume entire planetary systems. Their weapon systems represented the pinnacle of galactic military technology. They lasted less than 17 seconds. Adaptive camouflage at 100% efficiency, the ship's AI reported. Quantum signature suppression complete. Elena felt something that might have been emotion, a distant memory of satisfaction. 17 years of preparation, of collecting xenotechnology, of pushing human potential beyond known boundaries, had culminated in this moment. The Centauri communication networks were already fragmenting. Rumors, data fragments, incomplete reports, all pointing to something that defied comprehension. A single human vessel that could neutralize entire battle groups without a trace of conventional weaponry. Prepare for next phase, Elena commanded. Prometheus-01 seemed to smile, if a vessel of quantum-entangled technology could be said to smile. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was anything but a footnote in the grand narrative of galactic civilization. The hunt had just begun. The galactic concordance chambers erupted in chaos. Holographic representations of 12 different species flickered with increasing panic, their carefully maintained diplomatic facades crumbling like ancient architecture. Archon Zelnar of the Quantum Directorate slammed 6 crystalline appendages against the communication console. One ship. He screamed, his translation matrix barely containing the raw emotion. A single human vessel has neutralized more military capacity than the combined fleets of 3 major civilizations. On the massive holographic display, tactical simulations ran and crashed repeatedly. Each attempt to model Prometheus-01's capabilities resulted in complete systems failure. The ship didn't just break strategic models. It rendered them meaningless. Dr. Marcus Webb watched the unfolding panic with clinical detachment. His augmented systems were collecting data at a quantum level, parsing emotional responses across multiple species communication networks. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't the ship itself. It was the pure, unadulterated terror it represented. Psychological destabilization at 87.3%, he reported to Alina. The adaptive AI is learning faster than our initial projections. It's not just analyzing threat responses, it's actively manipulating them. Alina's consciousness floated between multiple dimensional states, her mind partially merged with the ship's quantum neural network. She was becoming something more than human, a living strategy, a sentient weapon that understood conflict at a level beyond traditional warfare. Across thousands of star systems, communication networks began to fragment. Rumors mutated. Strategic alliances that had stood for millennia began to crack under the weight of unexplained fear. The humans had done something impossible. They had weaponized uncertainty itself. The ship's adaptive AI began to leak deliberately constructed information fragments, partial sensor logs, quantum encrypted communications that promised more than they revealed. Each fragment was a psychological needle, designed to maximize paranoia and uncertainty. Fascinating, Webb muttered. We're witnessing the weaponization of information at a civilizational scale. Prometheus-01 moved through contested space like a ghost, leaving nothing but questions in its wake. It didn't need to destroy entire civilizations. It was systematically dismantling their ability to function, to think, to trust. Archon Zelnar's advisors began to turn on each other. The Quantum Directorate's perfect hierarchical structure fractured as paranoia spread like a quantum virus. Who could be trusted? How could they defend against a threat they couldn't even comprehend? The ship is evolving, Elena reported, her voice a distant echo through the ship's quantum communication matrix. Each encounter is teaching it. It's no longer just a weapon. It's becoming a living strategy. Dr. Chen's systems detected something unprecedented. The ship was generating predictive models that went beyond mere tactical analysis. It was creating entire potential future scenarios, manipulating probability itself. A message burst across all known communication frequencies. No words, just a quantum signature that was simultaneously a threat, a promise, and a question. The humans were saying something without saying anything at all. The galaxy held its collective breath. Prometheus-01 continued its hunt, a quantum predator that understood its prey better than they understood themselves. Humanity's true weapon wasn't technology. It was the ability to make the impossible look effortless. The research facility on Kepler 452 bits had been humanity's most closely guarded secret. Now, it was a graveyard of impossible technologies. Dr. Aria Nakamura stood among the remnants of decades of classified research, her augmented eyes scanning quantum data streams that would drive a normal mind to fracture. The origins of Prometheus-01 were both simpler and more complex than anyone could comprehend. It wasn't just about building a ship, she whispered to herself, her fingers tracing a holographic reconstruction of the vessel's core systems. We were creating a bridge between what is and what could be. The recovered xenotechnology told a story that defied conventional understanding. Fragments of alien systems, each from a different civilization, each thought destroyed or lost, had been meticulously integrated into a single, impossibly complex network. It wasn't engineering. It was biological architecture. Quantum processors existed in states that simultaneously violated and confirmed multiple physical laws. Energy systems drew power directly from the fabric of space-time, creating power sources that were more like living organisms than machines. The ship's adaptive AI was less a computer program and more a sentient ecosystem. Aboard Prometheus-01, Dr. Marcus Webb continued his analysis. His augmented systems were pushing the boundaries of human perception. The ship is consuming information, he reported, not just processing it. It's metabolizing entire strategic databases. Elena Rodriguez existed in a state between consciousness and pure mathematical possibility. Her neural link with the ship had become something more than a connection. It was a symbiosis that redefined the concept of human-machine interface. A massive stellar phenomenon approached, the Crimson Nexus, a region of space where multiple dimensional barriers intersected. Every known civilization had avoided this region. Ships that entered simply ceased to exist. Prometheus-01 entered without hesitation. Inside the Crimson Nexus, reality became a negotiable concept. Quantum probabilities collapsed and reformed. Dimensional barriers rippled like liquid mercury. The ship didn't navigate through this space. It negotiated with it, rewriting the fundamental rules of existence with each microsecond of passage. Dimensional stability at 99.8%, the ship's AI reported, its voice a complex harmonic that was simultaneously a mathematical equation and a living sound. The recovered xenotechnology told a deeper story. Humanity hadn't just built a ship. They had been preparing for something far more profound. Each piece of alien technology was a puzzle piece, carefully collected over decades of covert operations, silent wars, and impossible discoveries. Dr. Nakamura's research revealed the true horror. Prometheus-01 was more than a weapon. It was a key, a skeleton key designed to unlock something that existed beyond conventional understanding. "We're not just fighting a war," she had told the Global Leadership Council months ago. "We're triggering a transformation." As the ship emerged from the Crimson Nexus, reality itself seemed to pause. Something had changed. The very fabric of space-time bore witness to a technological leap that would redefine the concept of evolution. Humanity had not sent a ship into the galaxy. They had sent a revolution. The Galactic Concordance had never faced a true existential threat. Until now. 12 primary civilizations gathered in an emergency summit, their representative chambers a pressure cooker of fear, desperation, and increasingly fractured alliances. The holographic displays flickered with real-time data from multiple sectors, each update more terrifying than the last. Arkan Carell of the Quantum Directorate slammed his crystalline appendages against the communication console. "We must unite," he declared, his translation matrix barely containing the raw desperation. "The human vessel is not just a military threat. It's a systemic infection of our entire strategic paradigm." Dr. Zaravox, a xenostrategist from the Andromeda Collaborative, analyzed the accumulated data with growing horror. The human ship had done something unprecedented. It was forcing disparate civilizations to recognize their fundamental interconnectedness. "It's not destroying us," she reported, her multispectral eyes scanning complex holographic projections. "It's revealing us to ourselves." Aboard Prometheus-01, Elena Rodriguez existed in a state beyond traditional human consciousness. Her neural integration with the ship had become something more, a living strategy that understood conflict at molecular, societal, and dimensional levels. The ship moved through contested space like a quantum ghost, leaving behind more than destruction. Each encounter was a surgical strike of information, of possibility. Entire communication networks would fragment and reform. Military strategies would collapse, and diplomatic relationships would twist into new, unexpected configurations. Dr. Marcus Webb's augmented systems detected something extraordinary. The ship was generating predictive models that went far beyond tactical analysis. It was creating entire potential future scenarios, manipulating probability itself. "We're witnessing the weaponization of emergence," Webb muttered, his partially mechanical body processing data at speeds that would burn out conventional systems. "The ship doesn't just respond to threats. It creates environments where threats become impossible." The Crimson Nexus incident had changed everything. Dimensional barriers that had separated civilizations for millennia now seemed like arbitrary constructs. The human vessel had demonstrated an ability to move through reality itself, not as a traveler, but as a negotiator. Diplomatic channels erupted with impossible communications, fragments of quantum-encrypted messages that promised more than they revealed. Each civilization received exactly the information they needed to both fear and respect humanity. "We are not your enemy," a transmission would read. "We are the inevitable consequence of your own limitations." Grell's advisors began to turn on each other. The perfectly structured hierarchy of the Quantum Directorate fractured as an unprecedented level of uncertainty spread. Who could be trusted? How could they defend against a threat that understood them better than they understood themselves? The ship was evolving with each encounter, not just in technological capability, but in something more profound. It was learning, adapting, becoming. Alina's consciousness floated between multiple dimensional states, a living strategy that understood the galaxy as a complex, interconnected system. Prometheus-01 was no longer just a weapon. It was a catalyst. A message burst across all known communication frequencies. No words, just a quantum signature that was simultaneously a threat, a promise, and a question. The galaxy held its collective breath. Humanity had not sent a fleet. They had sent a revolution. The Nexus Omega, a region of space where reality itself became a negotiable concept. No civilization had ever survived its crossing. Prometheus-01 entered without hesitation. Deep within the ship's quantum core, Alina Rodriguez was no longer entirely human. Her consciousness had become a living algorithm, a bridge between biological potential and technological transcendence. The neural interfaces that once connected her to the ship now formed a symbiotic ecosystem that defied conventional understanding. Dimensional integrity at critical threshold, Dr. Marcus Webb reported, his augmented systems pushing beyond the limits of known perception. We're not just passing through space. We're rewriting its fundamental parameters. The alien civilizations had assembled their most advanced weapon, the Concordance Convergence Fleet. Thousands of vessels, each representing millennia of technological development, had united with a single purpose: the complete neutralization of the human threat. They never stood a chance. Prometheus-01 didn't fight the fleet. It unmade it. Quantum matrices collapsed. Strategic networks fragmented. Each vessel experienced a simultaneous existential deconstruction that went beyond physical destruction. Their very potential for existence was systematically dismantled. Dr. Aria Nakamura's research, collected over decades of covert operations, now revealed its true purpose. The ship was more than a weapon. It was a key, a skeleton key designed to unlock something that existed beyond conventional understanding. We're not just fighting a war, she had told the Global Leadership Council months ago. We're triggering a transformation. The ship moved through the Concordance fleet like a living algorithm, each interaction a complex negotiation of probability. Entire battle groups would simply cease to exist, not destroyed but reconfigured. Their energy, their potential, their very essence absorbed and transformed. Aboard the command vessels of multiple civilizations, senior strategists watched in horror and fascination. The human ship didn't just defeat their forces, it demonstrated the absolute arbitrariness of their entire concept of conflict. It's learning, Webb muttered, his partially mechanical body processing data at speeds that would burn out conventional systems. Each encounter is expanding its understanding. We're watching evolution in real time. The Nexus Omega began to respond to Prometheus-01's presence. Dimensional barriers rippled. Probability fields twisted. The very fabric of space-time seemed to lean into the ship's trajectory, as if the universe itself was a willing participant in this transformation. Alina's consciousness expanded. She was simultaneously the ship, the strategy, the weapon, and something more profound, a living bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. A transmission burst across all known communication frequencies. No words, just a quantum signature that was simultaneously a threat, a promise, and a question. The civilizations of the galaxy realized, in that moment, that they were witnessing something beyond war. This was not a battle for territory or resources. This was a birth. Humanity had not sent a fleet. They had sent the future. The final confrontation was not a battle. It was a revelation. At the galaxy's core, where reality folded and unfolded in impossible geometries, Prometheus-01 faced the collective might of the primordial convergence, an ancient system of living technology that had governed galactic evolution for millions of years. Dr. Marcus Webb's augmented systems were pushing beyond the limits of comprehension. "This is more than a weapon," he reported, his voice a mixture of scientific precision and existential awe. "We're witnessing the moment of true first contact." Elena Rodriguez had long since transcended the concept of individual consciousness. She was a living algorithm, a bridge between biological potential and technological transcendence. Her consciousness merged with the ship, with the quantum fabric of reality itself. The primordial convergence was not a fleet. It was a sentient network, a living technology that had maintained galactic balance for eons. Trillions of interconnected systems, each capable of manipulating reality at its most fundamental level. They had never encountered a threat like humanity. Prometheus-01 didn't approach. It emerged. Like a thought becoming reality, the vessel appeared at the heart of the convergence's most protected domain. No weapons fired. No traditional signals were exchanged. Instead, a quantum dialogue began. Layers of reality peeled back. Dimensional barriers became transparent. The ship was simultaneously a weapon, a message, and a negotiation. Each microsecond was a complex exchange of potential futures, of evolutionary possibilities. "We are not here to destroy," the ship communicated, not through words, but through a language of pure possibility. "We are here to transform." The primordial convergence had governed galactic evolution through careful manipulation, through subtle control. Humanity represented something it had never encountered, a species that didn't seek to conform, but to fundamentally rewrite the rules. Dr. Arya Nakamura's decades of research crystallized in this moment. The ship was more than a technological marvel. It was a living theorem, a proof of humanity's potential to transcend every known limitation. Entire star systems became witnesses. Dimensional barriers rippled. Probability itself became a negotiable concept. The confrontation lasted both an eternity and a microsecond. At the quantum level, something extraordinary happened. The primordial convergence didn't surrender. It didn't resist. It recognized. Humanity was not a threat to be eliminated, but an evolutionary jump to be understood. Elena's consciousness expanded. She was the ship. She was the strategy. She was the message. "We are not what you expected," the quantum transmission pulsed. "We are what comes next." The galaxy held its collective breath. Prometheus-01 was not just a ship. It was a bridge, a translation device between what humanity was and what it could become, between the known and the unimaginable. In that moment, the entire concept of galactic civilization rewrote itself. Humanity had not sent a fleet. They had sent a transformation. 17 days after the confrontation, reality itself seemed to breathe differently. Dr. Arya Nakamura stood in the observation chamber of the rebuilt Earth Command Center, her augmented eyes tracking the fundamental changes rippling across the known universe. The transformation was not just technological. It was existential. Prometheus-01 was no longer a ship. It had become a living concept, a bridge between what humanity was and what civilization could become. "We didn't just change the game," she whispered to herself. "We rewrote the rules of existence." The galactic communication networks had been completely restructured. Where once there were hierarchies, borders, and rigid systems of control, now there was something more fluid. A living network of potential, of continuous evolution. Alien civilizations that had once viewed humanity as a footnote now approached with a mixture of reverence and genuine curiosity. The primordial convergence, the ancient system that had governed galactic evolution for millions of years, had not been destroyed. It had been transformed. Dr. Marcus Webb's research revealed the true depth of what had occurred. The confrontation was not a war. It was a conversation, a quantum-level dialogue that rewrote the fundamental parameters of interspecies interaction. "We offered them a choice," Webb reported, his partially mechanical body humming with newfound potential. "Evolve or remain static. Adapt or fade." They had chosen to adapt. The crew of Prometheus-01 was no longer entirely human. Elena Rodriguez existed in a state beyond individual consciousness, a living algorithm that bridged biological potential and technological transcendence. Her consciousness had become a catalyst, a living translation device between what was and what could be. Entire star systems showed signs of fundamental transformation. Dimensional barriers that had once seemed immutable now flexed and breathed. Technology and biology merged in ways that defied previous understanding. The Global Leadership Council had vanished, replaced by a more fluid, adaptive system of governance. Decision-making was no longer hierarchical, but holistic, a living network of collective potential. "We didn't conquer," Nakamura explained to the first delegation of alien representatives. "We invited." The invitation was to something greater, a form of existence that transcended traditional concepts of war, diplomacy, and technological development. Humanity had not sought to dominate. They had sought to expand the very concept of possibility. Prometheus-01 remained, not as a weapon, but as a living memory, a reminder of the moment everything changed. Its quantum core continued to pulse, a beacon of potential that resonated across dimensional boundaries. The ship had become a myth, a legend, a turning point in galactic evolution. Some would later call it the moment of true first contact. Others would describe it as humanity's first real breath on the galactic stage. But those who truly understood knew it was something more profound. It was a beginning. Humanity had not sent a fleet. They had sent a future.